Shalom, call halal Yahweh Bashem Shabbat Shem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and other bishops of great millstone, even the elders that came before them, that taught us his truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word of truth and sincerity, the full like tabernacle of David. The brother Elder Yashawan. Shalom and salutations to you all. Real quick, I saw something, and you can trust Mirandi because he knows what's going on in the global south, in the Middle East, in Iran. I think he's from Iran. So when he speaks on the situation in Iran, he's speaking as an Iranian. So he's going to know what propaganda is. He's going to know what bullshit is. He's going to know it's been going on since 1979. Okay. Anyway, let's read this. Ambassador Chaz Freeman and Mohammed Mirandi. Trump issues warning to Iran. Tehran fires back immediately. That's the headline. What's particularly interesting is what he says. Because after he brings his paragraph, which is a bit lengthy, he talks for about maybe 5 minutes, and then I'm going to let Chaz come in and agree with him. But what he says at the end, he says, this is a big ball of smoke that's going to go away in 2 weeks. So what are we doing right now? What am I doing? I'm measuring. I got this thing about measuring the time. So let's get that. Where is it? Let's measure. Pull out the measuring stick here. Second measure is 9 and 1. Okay, so second measure is 9 and 1. In the King James, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time. Measure what? The time. Measure it out diligently in itself. Okay. He answered me then and said, measure, that's a commandment. Right? This is instruction from on high. Measure thou the time diligently in itself. Right? And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before. Okay. The part I want is measure. Let's go. Let's look at that right here in G and T. Second Ezra 9. What does it say right here? Consider all these things very carefully. That's what measure the time. He answered and said, consider all these things very carefully. When there's time right there. Where do you find time in here? When okay? So this is dealing with the time. When you see these signs, okay? When is dealing with time. Consider all these things very carefully. When you see all these, I've told you about have appeared, you will know that the what? Time. When you see, you will know that time has come. Okay? Measuring what? The time. All right, was very important. So, he's going to push this thing back. What we see in Iran isn't going to explode next week. Let's listen to Mirandi. Nima here is going to set it up. We're going to let Chaz just agree with him, and we're not really going to go into what he thinks because he's got a Western mind frame. This guy's from the East. He's qualified to speak on the East, on Iran, what they're going to do, what they're thinking. And yeah, you better agree with him, Chaz. You can disagree and, give your Western opinion. Take it away.
50 minutes.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Today's Friday, January 2nd, 2026, and our dear friends, Ambassador.
That's very important, the time. How long until, right? We're measuring the time, right?
Freeman and Professor Mirandi are here with us. Welcome back, Professor Mirandi and Ambassador.
Glad to be with you, Nima.
Thank you for inviting us.
And Happy New Year to you and to our audience.
And the witchcraft.
And let me start, Professor Mirandi, with you. And here is what we have seen with the tweet from Donald Trump. Somehow, let me just bring it up here. This is
There you are.
Okay, so this is January 2nd. This is now. We're dealing with time. And this guy, what are we looking at here? We're looking at whatever Trump posted when? Yesterday? Okay. So these things are happening now. Consider that.
I'm using here. Yeah. You see, Donald Trump tweeting that if Iran shuts and violently kill peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go.
Can my dad?
Wait a minute. Didn't you just lob some cruise missiles at Iran? You were locked and loaded then too, right? It's just crazy. Just the logic and the absurdity of it all. The theater is absurd. The theater of the absurd.
And we had the response from the head of National Security Council of Iran, Ali Larijani. He's saying that with the statement by Israeli officials and Donald Trump, what has been going on behind the scene is now.
Look at Mirandi. he's trying hard to contain his laughter. That's what that smirk is.
We distinguish between the stance of protesting shopkeepers and the action of disruptive actors. And Trump should know that the United States interference in this internal matter would mean destabilizing the entire region and destroying America's interests. The American people should know Trump started this adventurism. They should be mindful of their soldiers' safety. What is going on, Professor Mirandi?
Okay, he's about to respond to the overall outlook of things. I mean, he's laughing at Trump. Trump is tongue-in-cheek being a fucking asshole and responding to the situation and throwing a dagger. Because right now, Trump, they're supposed to be seizing on the fact that, they were able to create a melee, really. They paid some shopkeepers to go out in the street. And then the agents provocateur that were standing next to him, right after the shopkeepers complained, then the agents provocateur went in to burn it down, and things escalated from there. So the whole thing was contrived. And look at Mirandi. Look at him laughing.
With the case of the protests in Iran, and because Donald Trump is talking about it, his main reason for tweeting is the protests in Iran.
Well, we got to go save the Iranians because they might shoot somebody. This motherfucker. Wait, weren't you lobbing cruise missiles? But now you're going to go save somebody. This is hilarious. It's the theater of the absurd. We're going to have to look up that definition. So look.
What is going on, and how did you find the reaction from the President of the United States?
Well, the protests, I think, they're quite simple. What happened was that there was a sudden drop in the rial over a short period of time, and some shop owners and business people in the city center went to the streets and protested. And basically, they were...
Surely they were paid to. See, when you see the synchronicity and the synchronization of how everything happens at once, those shopkeepers had to have been given incentive to go out at that particular time, at which point the agents provocateur can then start lighting shit on fire. Then people come in, disgruntled people come in, fan the flames, and then you have what they're trying to call a civil war. But listen to what he says at the end of this.
Concerned because instability in the price of the real makes it very difficult for them to purchase goods, to sell goods, to make a profit, and to remain in business. And what happened was that, like in past occasions, immediately you had these infiltrations, small groups, um, and we have these in different cities as well.
Agents provocateur being fed money from people like George Soros to destabilize things. They're sitting there waiting for people to protest on the street so that they can fan the flames of that shit and turn it into what they want to turn it into. Kind of like Antifa sitting there, you know, oh, there's a protest, but we're out there with helmets on, and then we're gonna, start pushing and shoving and start a riot. Okay, that's how these things are done.
And then when they infiltrate, they're violent, and then you have a mix of protesters and rioters, and then gradually the protesters walk away and the rioters remain in place. And what we've seen over the last couple of days is,
and then hopefully you could take the whole government down. It's called regime change. That's what they're trying to do over there. It's all coming from Babylon. For Donald Trump to make that statement and to say, oh, we're coming over there to clean it all up, nigga, you was just slobbing cruise missiles. But now you ready to go clean it all up? We're coming to the rescue? No.
the riots. Small riots, small in number in small towns and cities, some very violent, some less so, but not large in number. It's mostly what we're seeing now is AI and a lot of old footage and manipulation. There have been, I think, I don't know exactly, but 2 or 3 deaths.
So this is an attack. This is the West using propaganda to attack for a reason to attack Iran. And all of this is being put on by who? Netanyahu.
3 deaths, I think, at least until now. But I'm not sure about
it's some real wagging the dog type shit going on. That's what
the numbers. This pattern.
This will all go away. Watch it. They chopped it right at that perfect time. Listen to what he said.
This is not what Trump has done. Basically, is and what the Israeli regime has done 2-3 days ago when they said that among you there was a tweet, I think, from the Israel and Iran account on Twitter. I haven't seen it myself. I was told this. Maybe someone in your audience would know better, but that we are among you in Iran, which I think is quite stupid for them to do, to announce their involvement. And Trump's tweet, or his, I don't know if he did this on to social or on Twitter, but his statement, I think, only strengthens the case of the administration in Tehran and the government and the National Security Council that the United States and the Israeli regime, they are trying to create unrest and disturbances, especially when this comes at a time when Trump and Netanyahu are having their little love fest during the new year. So, whether this is something that was, you have to keep this in mind. The whole point of the sanctions, the maximum pressure sanctions, is to bring the Iranian people to their knees and make them so desperate that they rise up and overthrow the government. This is what they've done in Cuba. This is
rise up and overthrow the government, as in regime change. Okay? What we're watching is an attempt at regime change in Iran and in Venezuela. That's what we do. And in the United States of America. Okay? Where they will install, they're going to get rid of Trump and install whoever the Handmaid's Tale detail whatever those guys were called, right? They're coming in. It's called regime change. Okay, that's what we're watching.
They've done in Venezuela.
See?
This has been done. This is what they're doing to Russia, and this is what they did with success.
What they're doing in Russia, they're trying regime change in Russia right now. Crazy. That's World War III regime change in Russia.
In the case of Syria, because I've been to Syria quite often.
He said that it succeeded. Let me back that up. I'm destroying his 5 minutes log.
At a time when Trump and Netanyahu are having their little love fest during the new year. So, whether this is something that was, you have to keep this in mind. The whole point of the sanctions, the maximum pressure sanctions, is to bring the Iranian people to their knees and make them so desperate that they rise up and overthrow the government. This is what they've done in Cuba. This is what they've done in Venezuela. This has been done. This is what they're doing to Russia. And this is what they did with success in the case of Syria, because I've been to Syria quite often. And during the years, it was clear that people were not, they were not in support of Al-Qaeda coming to Damascus. But especially after the Caesar sanctions, the morale among Syrians in general collapsed. It became much worse very rapidly, because there were places in Syria, I haven't seen those places, but I was told that there are places in Syria where, where people had a shortage of food. In other words, they were on sort of borderline starvation. So the sanctions are there to make people suffer. They're not directed at any governments. They're always directed at the people so that they can get their way. But it's not going to work. I mean, in the case of Iran, I don't think in the case of Venezuela it will work. I mean, I've been to Venezuela a few times, and I'm not an expert. I have friends there. I'm not an expert. But my understanding is that it's not going to work, and so far it hasn't. But in the case of Iran, it's definitely not going to work. We've been hearing this over and over again for decades, that Iran is on the verge of collapse, that the regime, as they like to call it, is hated and unpopular, and it's interesting. It's both hated, unpopular. It's imploding. It's utterly corrupt. Yet at the same time, it's a threat to the region. It's a threat sometimes to the world, which is a sort of paradox that's unresolvable. But I think after a couple of weeks, this is going to end, and then they'll move on.
That right there. I think after a couple of weeks, all of this, people in the street, them trying to cause regime change, make hay out of it, never let a bad situation, whatever. Okay.
Threat to the region. It's a threat sometimes to the world, which is a sort of paradox that's unresolvable. But I think after a couple of weeks, this is going to end, and then they'll move on to some new story.
He just summed it up. He summed it up like, this ain't nothing. This is more of this. So whatever you see, all of this hoopla about what's going on in Iran right now, this is wagging the dog. All right. So, I mean, going into, let no man deceive you. Wagging the dog goes into wars and rumors of war, does it not?
Can't hear you, Nima.
Yeah, Ambassador, your understanding of reaction on the part of Donald Trump.
Well, I think Mohammed Mirandi is correct. The basic policy of the United States in support of Israeli.
I think Mohammed Mirandi is correct about everything he just said. Okay. And we don't have to, hear it again. We could hear his synopsis.
The United States in support of Israeli interest in eliminating Iran as a rival in the region is directed at immiserating the Iranian people so that they will take out their fury on the government and overthrow it. And of course,
Regime change.
I think just before we went on, I was speculating because that's all I can do. I'm not in Iran.
Muhammad is. Look at him. Yeah, nigga, I am. I'm here. I just laid it down. You can only speculate.
With you that, in fact, there are two kinds of people engaged in these protests or riots.
Agent provocateurs, right? And disgruntled citizens that can see the handwriting on the wall, just like in every country right now, because everybody's getting squeezed. And those that know what's going on, you're going digital, right? And not only do you think you're going digital, guess what? We're at the end of the age, right? So when you get to the heavenly knowledge, right? The knowledge that is from above, you understand that there's nothing you can do to stop the end of the age and the changing of the guard. Anyway, we're done.
One is ordinary people who have very good reason to be upset about the collapse in the value of the currency, the shopkeepers.
Yeah, that's the every hand of the wicked. The laborers are mad as fuck because why? Well, things have come to this is the end of the cycle, right? And what they have to do is try to bluff you into re-entering into the cycle under new rules, which they call a reset or a new world order or all of that. But guess what? The NWO starts with Yahweh Bahashem Yahusha. Bahashem Akakwadash. All right. So with that, we hope that the electorate edified you, brothers and sisters. Shalom.